They will tell you that the world craves stability, that men sleep peacefully only when tomorrow resembles yesterday. But I have walked the corridors where power breathes, and I know the lie embedded in this longing. Predictability is not peace, it is paralysis. Predictability breeds contempt, and contempt breeds rebellion. To hold command is not to be loved for constancy, but to wield the tension between fear and desire like a blade in the shadows. The crowd does not understand its own instincts. They speak of justice, yet it is spectacle they seek. They whisper of virtue, yet they kneel before the strong. And so the ruler who governs by the book will find himself devoured by those who never read it. To lead is not to soothe, but to disrupt, to inject uncertainty at the precise moment when the enemy believes you tame. Predictability is the leash they will use against you. Cut it, leave them guessing. The mind that cannot be read cannot be restrained. Power is not a steady flame. It is a firestorm that consumes the hesitant and rewards the audacious. A prince who reveals all intentions becomes a prisoner of them. But a prince whose hand is masked by smoke commands not only armies but imaginations. The governed will forgive cruelty if it brings order. They will forgive deception if it spares them chaos. What they will never forgive is weakness disguised as kindness or predictability mistaken for strength. You must understand the theater in which you perform. The throne is a stage where the ruler plays many parts: the savior, the predator, the father, the executioner. And every mask you wear must be convincing enough to make them believe it is your face. Yet even as you perform, you must remain untouched by your own illusions. The danger is not in acting, it is in believing the act. A ruler who is feared may still be loved in secret. A ruler who is loved may be envied in silence. But a ruler who is predictable is neither feared nor loved. He is dismissed. The world conspires against those it finds boring. Your task is not to satisfy their expectations, but to shape them. Feed them stories when you must. Feed them fear when you must. Let them believe they know you, but never let them know when you will strike. There is no purity in politics. There is only the choice between action and irrelevance. Those who wait for the perfect moment will wait forever. Fortune visits the bold because boldness creates its own openings. And yet, boldness without calculation is ruin. This is the art: to appear reckless, yet to have measured every risk, to appear merciful, yet to know when mercy destroys more than it saves. Loyalty is not a gift you receive. It is a currency you buy and sell. Men are loyal as long as their interests are served. When the wind shifts, so will their devotion. A ruler who forgets this will be betrayed first by those who swore eternal allegiance. It is not treachery that destroys states. It is the ruler's surprise at its inevitability. Assume betrayal, and you will never be unprepared. In every man there is a beast and a citizen. When you appeal only to the citizen, you are speaking to the mask. To govern effectively, you must speak also to the beast. You must understand his hunger, his fear, his lust for security. And when the beast threatens to devour the order you have built, you must become a greater beast still. Do not imagine that power is a position you hold. It is an act you perform every hour. The moment you cease performing, you have already lost it. You may sit on the throne, but the throne itself will become your prison if you believe it grants you permanence. Nothing in this world is permanent. Not love, not wealth, not even terror. Only the capacity to adapt survives. They want predictability because it calms their small fears. But give them too much of it, and they will grow bold enough to tear you down. Give them uncertainty instead. Keep them questioning. Keep them off balance. It is not enough to rule their lands, you must rule their imaginations. The prince who does not control perception will soon control nothing at all. You will discover soon enough that men love in whispers and hate in chorus. Their devotion is fragile, their envy deep, and their memory short. Today they cheer your victories. Tomorrow they will curse the very name they once swore to defend. Do not resent them for this. It is their nature, and nature does not change because a ruler wishes it so. Instead, use their nature as you would use the current of a river. Do not fight it. Bend it to carry you forward. When they love you, Take what you need from their love. When they hate you, ensure their hatred does not become bold enough to strike. Fear is the chain that keeps hatred at a distance. There is no cruelty so great as the cruelty of hesitation. The ruler who falters in punishing betrayal teaches others to betray. Better one decisive stroke than 1,000 half measures that embolden your enemies. Do not imagine that mercy will purchase gratitude. Mercy purchases only contempt, and contempt is the prelude to rebellion. You must learn the moment when forgiveness fortifies your rule, and the moment when forgiveness poisons it. Most often, you will find that the second is far more common. Control is not built by imposing force alone, it is built by shaping perception. The man who believes he is free is more easily governed than the one who knows he is not, and yet, from time to time, you must tear aside the veil and remind them of the steel beneath your hand. A single display of power is worth 1,000 proclamations. Let the memory of it echo in their minds, and they will police themselves. To hold power is to walk among predators, not sheep. The sheep may outnumber the wolves, but they will not protect you when the wolves close in. You must choose your allies carefully, and remember always that they are not bound to you by blood or fate, they are bound by advantage. As long as your power feeds their ambitions, they will stand beside you. The moment it does not, they will conspire against you. Expect this, plan for it, and when the conspiracy comes, strike not at the branches but at the root. Cut it away entirely, so that no other branch dares to grow in its place. The stage on which you rule is lit by rumor, shadows, and fear. Truth is seldom enough to sustain command. Appearances matter more than substance, because men believe what they see, not what is. A weak ruler may have a strong army, yet if he appears timid, his strength counts for nothing. A strong ruler may be surrounded by enemies, yet if he appears invincible, few will dare test him. Do not waste time explaining yourself. To justify is to invite doubt. Act, and let others explain your actions to themselves. If you seek to endure, you must master the art of disappearance. Disappear from their expectations, disappear from their calculations, become something they cannot predict, and therefore cannot cage. The fixed star is admired, but it is the comet that terrifies. Let them see you as the comet, bright, dangerous, beyond their reach, for it is in unpredictability that true command resides. Every rival you face will wear the mask of reason. They will speak of law, of tradition, of morality. Do not mistake these masks for their true faces. Beneath them lies nothing but ambition, no different from your own. The sooner you strip away these illusions, the sooner you will understand the terrain on which you fight. There is no neutral ground. Every man who does not strengthen your position weakens it. Every man who does not fear you imagines, secretly, how to replace you. The ruler must live with solitude, for solitude is the price of clarity. If you share every thought, if you confide every fear, you invite the dagger into your inner circle. Even your closest advisors must never know the full extent of your mind. Keep them guessing, divide their ambitions, feed them enough to feel useful, but never enough to feel indispensable. When one grows too bold, remove him swiftly and without hesitation. In politics, as in war, hesitation kills faster than any sword. Men believe themselves rational, yet they are ruled by symbols and stories. If you would hold them, give them symbols to worship and stories to repeat. The nation is not held together by its laws, but by the myths it tells about itself. If those myths weaken, so too will the state. Be the guardian of those myths when it serves you. Rewrite them when it does not. There is no sacred narrative that cannot be altered in the service of survival. To govern is to embrace contradiction. You must be merciful and ruthless, generous and grasping, honest and deceitful. The mind unfit for contradiction is unfit for power. A ruler who clings to virtue in all things will find himself crushed by those who do not. And yet, the ruler who abandons virtue entirely becomes a beast, and beasts do not hold thrones for long. You must balance the lion and the fox within you, strength to frighten your enemies, cunning to avoid their traps. Fail in either, and your reign will end as swiftly as it began. Do not seek friendship where only alliances exist. Friendships belong to private men. Alliances belong to rulers. They last only as long as the interests that sustain them. When those interests diverge, no amount of sentiment will keep your allies loyal. Accept this, and you will never be surprised when the hand that once swore fidelity now draws the blade. The masses desire security, but they respect only strength. To grant them both is rare and fleeting. When forced to choose, always secure strength first. The man who holds strength can impose security. The man who seeks only to soothe the people will be devoured by their discontent the moment fear returns. And fear always returns. You will be tempted to believe that time is your ally, that delay can resolve the challenges arrayed before you, but time is an indifferent master. It strengthens the patient enemy and weakens the hesitant ruler. When the moment demands action, act. Strike before the enemy gathers his courage. The first blow is half the battle. The throne is not a seat. It is a balancing act. You stand there as long as you can maintain equilibrium. Lean too far into fear, and rebellion will gather in the streets. Lean too far into love, and conspiracies will fester in your court. Your task is not to eliminate these forces, but to hold them in tension. Let them push against each other, while you remain the unmoved center. Power is not a possession, it is a motion. The instant you stop moving, stop adapting, stop surprising, you have already begun to lose it. The man who believes himself secure is already vulnerable. The man who sees the fragility of his own throne is the one most likely to preserve it. They want predictability because it makes them feel safe. Give them uncertainty instead. Let them look to you and wonder, what will he do next? Will he strike or will he spare? Will he give or will he take? In that wondering lies your true strength. For as long as they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. If you would endure, you must learn to make peace with the weight of suspicion. Trust no man completely, not even those who claim to have been forged in your battles, for loyalty fades faster than fear. The very act of holding power corrupts the bonds between ruler and subject, between ruler and advisor, until every oath becomes a transaction and every friendship an arena of competing ambitions. This is not cause for despair. It is the natural law of politics. Better to see the world as it is than be destroyed by what you wish it to be. You may hear it said that a ruler should seek to be loved above all else. Do not be seduced by this counsel. Love is fickle. Love depends upon the whims of the multitude, and the multitude is never constant. Fear, however, is steady. Fear endures even when gratitude fades. Fear commands obedience where love falters. The wise ruler does not spurn love, but he does not lean upon it. He cultivates it when possible, but prepares always for the moment when it turns to ash. The strongest chains are those unseen. Men who believe they act freely are more easily controlled than those who know they are bound. Shape their choices so that every path leads to your advantage. Let them curse or praise as they wish, so long as their actions serve your design. And when resistance arises, do not meet it with outrage. Meet it with cold precision. Cut it down swiftly and publicly, so that others may take warning. One execution can prevent 100 rebellions. The art of rule is not static. It demands vigilance. A ruler who rests upon past victories will not survive the storms that follow. Every success breeds complacency in the victor and envy in the defeated. Your rivals will study your triumphs not to admire them, but to dismantle them. Anticipate this. Reinvent yourself before they can predict your moves. The prince who evolves faster than his enemies remains untouchable. Do not imagine that ideals alone will preserve a state. Ideals inspire, but they do not defend. When the barbarians are at the gate, speeches will not hold the walls. You must temper vision with steel. The people may honor your ideals in song and story, but they will follow the man who brings bread and order. Give them these, and they will forgive your trespasses. Fail to give them these, and they will crown another in your place, no matter how loudly they once praised your virtues. It is tempting to believe that enemies are your greatest threat, but often it is your allies who undo you. They are close enough to know your habits, bold enough to covet your place, and cunning enough to cloak ambition in loyalty. Watch them carefully, divide them when necessary. Keep them dependent upon your favor so that their power rises and falls at your pleasure. A ruler who allows his allies to grow too strong has already sown the seeds of his own destruction. There will be moments when your hand trembles at the decisions before you. Banish this weakness. The state cannot afford a ruler who hesitates. Delay invites doubt. Doubt invites challenge. A single hour of indecision can undo years of careful strategy. Better to err with boldness than to falter with caution. Fortune, like war, favors the decisive. You will find that men admire clarity in words, but fear ambiguity in action. Use this to your advantage. Speak plainly enough to inspire trust, but act unpredictably enough to keep them from plotting against you. When they believe they understand you fully, you have already lost. Mystery is not weakness, it is armor. Wrap yourself in it. The most dangerous illusion for a ruler is that time will solve his problems. Time solves nothing. It corrodes. It emboldens rivals. It spreads discontent like rot through the foundations of the state. Do not leave wounds to fester. Cut them out. Even if the cut is deep, the body politic will heal faster than if the infection spreads. In peace, prepare for war. In prosperity, prepare for famine. In loyalty, prepare for betrayal. This is the discipline of power. Do not allow comfort to dull your senses. The moment you feel most secure is the moment you are most vulnerable. Fortune tests those it would destroy by first lulling them into complacency. Resist her seduction. Stay alert. Stay dangerous. Do not confuse virtue with survival. A ruler who insists on acting as a private man, bound by private morality, will not long remain a ruler. Public life demands a different ethic. The state is a living organism, and you are its steward. Sometimes you must choose the lesser evil to avoid the greater. Sometimes you must become the monster they fear to spare them, the chaos they would bring upon themselves. This is the paradox of leadership. The people demand virtue, yet they follow only power. Your reign will be measured not by the intentions you carried in your heart, but by the order you imposed upon the world. History does not remember what you wished to do. It remembers what you accomplished. If you would leave a legacy, make it one that endures. Build institutions stronger than your person, but never let them become strong enough to challenge your authority while you live. Even as you hold command, remember this: power is not inherited. It is seized anew every day. Each dawn brings new threats, new calculations, new betrayals. Rule as though your throne is contested at every moment, because it is. Only those who fight to hold power deserve to keep it. They want predictability because it soothes their anxieties. They want to believe the world follows a script, that tomorrow will unfold as yesterday did. But predictability is an illusion. Give them just enough of it to keep them docile, then shatter it at will. The unpredictable ruler owns the battlefield, for no enemy can prepare for what he cannot foresee. To master the game of power is to accept its loneliness. You will be praised, envied, feared, hated, but seldom loved for what you are. This is the price. Do not seek solace in the crowd, nor comfort in affection. Seek only to endure, to command, to shape the world in the image of your will. And when the day comes that you are tested, when enemies rise within and beyond your walls, remember this truth: fortune is a fickle mistress, but fear is a loyal servant. The throne you sit upon is not made of wood or stone. It is built from perceptions, fears, loyalties, and lies woven so tightly that even you must sometimes touch its surface to be reminded it exists. And yet, you must never mistake that surface for stability. The moment you believe the illusion of permanence, you have surrendered the only weapon that keeps you in command: vigilance. It is not the masses alone you must master, but also the courtiers who gather like flies around your power. They are drawn not to you, but to the heat of authority. As long as you burn brightly, they orbit you, singing songs of loyalty and service. But should your flame falter, they will scatter, seeking warmth elsewhere, or worse, They will conspire to strike you down and feed off your carcass like carrion. This is the natural order of courts. You cannot change it, but you can command it if you remember that even those closest to you serve their own ambitions first. Divide them, distract them, feed their rivalries as one feeds coals in a fire, ensuring no single advisor grows so strong as to challenge you. Praise one today, rebuke him tomorrow, raise another in his place, then cast him down. Let no man believe he has secured your favor permanently. Uncertainty will keep them obedient, for the mind that fears tomorrow is too busy to plot against today. Beware the soft counsel of peace. There is no permanent peace, only the pause between conflicts, the gathering of forces in silence. Your enemies do not rest, even if they smile in treaties and toast your health in banquets. They calculate, they wait, they watch for the hairline fractures in your rule. If you must sign peace, do so only to prepare for war. If you must embrace an enemy, do so only as the wolf embraces the sheep before it strikes. The governed crave simplicity. They wish to believe in a good ruler or a bad one, in heroes and villains, in a clear line between right and wrong. But power does not obey these lines. It twists them, erases them, redraws them in shapes that suit survival. The ruler must walk where others refuse to tread, not because he loves cruelty or deception, but because they are sometimes the only paths left. And if you refuse them, others will take them first, and you will become their prey. A ruler cannot afford illusions, least of all about himself. See yourself as others see you, and then see deeper. Know your strengths, so you may wield them without hesitation. Know your weaknesses, so you may conceal them without fail. Do not believe your own propaganda. Do not mistake the cheers of the crowd for genuine devotion. Cheers are loudest before the fall. Listen instead to silence, for it speaks more truthfully of what they are thinking, but dare not say. Your enemies will test you not with open challenge at first, but with small provocations, probing your resolve. If you respond with weakness, they will grow bolder. If you respond with fury, they will unite against you. The art lies in responding with precision, swift enough to deter, restrained enough to avoid awakening a larger storm. A single, well-aimed strike can restore fear where 1,000 speeches would fail. It is not enough to be strong. You must be seen as strong. Appearances govern reality. A ruler who appears indecisive invites rebellion even if his armies are mighty. A ruler who appears unassailable discourages attack even if his walls are thin. Shape the theater of power with care, for the performance often matters more than the facts behind the curtain. But take care, too, not to believe the performance. Many rulers fall not to their enemies, but to their own delusions. They mistake applause for loyalty, ritual for control, and thus leave themselves naked before betrayal. Never forget that every man has a price, and that even the most loyal are loyal only until their interests change. You will hear whispers that fear poisons a state, that trust and love alone can bind a people together. This is half true. A state ruled by terror alone rots from within, its people hollowed by despair. But a state ruled by love alone grows weak, complacent, ripe for conquest. Fear and love must walk together, balanced like a sword in its scabbard. Draw the blade too often, and it dulls. Leave it sheathed too long, and no one believes you will use it. Consider fortune. She is not a goddess to be worshipped, but a force to be mastered. She rewards those who seize her by the forelock, who act while others hesitate, yet she is capricious. Today she smiles, tomorrow she withdraws her favor. The wise ruler does not rely upon her whims. He builds walls against her storms. He forges allies against her betrayals. He prepares for the day when fortune turns her face. The people want predictability because it comforts them, but predictability in a ruler is a flaw, not a virtue. When they know your mind, they can shape their plans. When they know your habits, they can predict your moves. Unpredictability keeps them off balance, forcing them to react rather than act. It is not chaos you give them, but calculated uncertainty enough to remind them that you are not theirs to control. You will be tempted, in quiet moments, to set down the burdens of command, to yearn for the peace of a private man. Resist this temptation. The private man may rest, but the ruler who abandons his vigilance invites ruin. Power once gained cannot be laid aside without consequence. To step down is to step into the jaws of those you once held at bay. Remember this: there are no final victories in politics. Every triumph contains within it the seeds of future struggle. Every enemy vanquished creates a vacuum others will rush to fill. Power is not a summit you reach, but a battlefield you must cross again and again. The prince who forgets this truth wakes one morning to find his crown in another's hands. They want predictability, give them uncertainty. Let them believe you are kind, but remind them you are dangerous. Let them hope for peace, but keep them prepared for war. Let them trust, but never entirely. In this tension lies your strength. In this balance lies your survival. And in your survival lies the fate of all you rule. You may wonder if it is worth it, this ceaseless struggle, this endless game of fear and loyalty, betrayal and survival. You may long for a world where power flows without corruption, where justice reigns without the shadow of violence, where love binds the people to their ruler and the ruler to his people. But that world exists only in the minds of poets and philosophers too timid to touch the raw machinery of statecraft. The world as it is will not bend to your virtues. It will test them, shatter them, grind them into dust unless you learn to wield virtue as a weapon and discard it when it becomes a weakness. The lion is noble, but the fox survives. The oak is mighty, but the reed bends and endures. So too must you adapt, not because you wish to, but because the throne demands it. Do not seek to be remembered as good. Seek to be remembered as necessary, for it is not goodness that sustains a state, but necessity. Let them hate you if they must, so long as they fear disobedience. Let them call you cold, so long as they obey your laws. Let them despise your cunning, so long as your cunning keeps their world intact. And when the day comes that you are gone, when your name passes into history and your face fades from memory, what will remain is the order you imposed, the peace you secured, the power you carved from chaos. They may curse your methods, they may rewrite your motives, but in secret they will know it was because you ruled as you did that they were spared the ruin they could not see. They want predictability because it comforts them, but comfort is the prelude to collapse. Give them uncertainty, give them fear and awe in equal measure. Let them stand before you and wonder not what you will do next, but whether they will survive if they misstep. For the prince who cannot be read cannot be replaced. The prince who cannot be predicted cannot be destroyed. In the end, they will not love you. They will not thank you, but they will remember you. And for a ruler, remembrance is the closest thing to immortality the world allows.